So it's 7 fabulous towns and the city of Boston for 26.2 miles. It all starts in Hopkinton, heads to Ashland, Framingham, which became a city not too long ago, Natick, Wellesley, where this race is probably at its loudest, and then on to Newton and the famous Heartbreak Hill, where last year's women's race was decided. On into Brookline, past the Citgo sign, and today empty Fenway Park, the home of the Boston Red Sox. On into Boston and one of the great finishing straights on Boylston Street, where we talk to you from today. And off we go. And there'll be a major wave right behind the elite men. The conditions might be getting just a little bit better. It starts on Route 135 and the destination is Boylston Street. And finally underway, and probably very happy to be underway, is James O'Brien. James, what's it like out there?
Well, it's fairly miserable right now, Al. We had a moment's respite in the rain just as the gun fired to get this field under. Right now is coming down really hard once again. I'd say it's a little bit short of torrential, so it's really severe conditions. I think it's going to be quite a considerable challenge, and maybe the defining challenge of this year's race.
James, what about the headwind? Have you noticed it at the start?
Well, it looks fairly still, to be honest, Larry. It's hard to tell in this covered vehicle that we're on, but the trees are still. The few flags that are out here don't seem to be waving much in the wind.
Larry, this is Kawauchi making what looks to be a crazy move here.
I don't know what to say, Al. I don't know what he's thinking, but...
Maybe he's thinking of getting on camera.
Yes, that's true. And he's running that's a great side angle right there. You get a great idea of the turnover. And somewhere, I would say, within 5K or maybe 10, somebody is going to hand this gentleman a piano to carry.
Kawauchi, 31.
This is too fast. Wow. Kawauchi. My apologies.
I started the whole thing.
Well, that's okay. I spent a little time in the service in Japan, and I should know better. Well, what's interesting to me a little bit is 3 other people have decided, okay, let's just pick up this pace and not let it truly dawdle. So the men look like they're going to definitely run faster earlier than the women did. Wilson Chabet right up there. I talked about Kawauchi, going out so hard. How about his first full mile? Just over 1,500 meters in 4 minutes and 37 seconds. I mean...
Sounds like a plan.
I don't even know what to say.
Looks like Kawauchi is coming back to the field.
I mean, to show you what we meant when I said 4:37 mile pace, if you extrapolate that for the full marathon, that's a 2-hour, 1-minute marathon, and you shatter the world best. Kawauchi has decided that as a 2-hour, 8-minute marathoner, he's run that in Seoul, that he doesn't want this to be a slow pace, but I'm just stunned at how fast he went out. I would think he's going to pay a hell of a price for this thing at some point in time. Evans Chebet has taken over the pace, decided he wanted to move up and keep things really honest. The men are running kind of a strong, tough race given the conditions. This is interesting. Chebet's a 2:05 marathoner, so anything could happen here in Boston. He's got better times than people like Rupp and a host of guys behind him, although it's never done on a challenging course like Boston. They have a 7-second lead on the pack, does Evans Chebet and Kawauchi.
Tola's right there in the second group. This is the kind of two-man break that can collapse in a hurry. Galen Rupp is right there in the third spot.
We're down to an Elite 8 in effect, Al, and 2 or 3 others have just fallen off the pack a little bit. Kawauchi falling back now. They may regain contact, some of the others who have fallen back, but right now our winner may come from this top group of 8 on the men's side. It looks like our friend Kawauchi is back up in the lead after the way he ran the first 3,000 meters of this race. I never thought this would be occurring.
Hey, James, he's back.
That pack too. He's the other early leader, but Kawauchi is putting in a surge, and he's broken away from Felix Candy and Jeffrey Karui and the rest of the contenders, the foremost contenders in that pack. And I will say, as Larry, as you said, it is a monsoon right now. It is coming down heavier and heavier with every meter. We're at the 12-mile mark now, which is right 60 minutes and 18 seconds unofficially for Kawauchi. But he is just powering on the pace as he did from the start. So God bless him. But this is tough conditions, and he's certainly a tough runner.
Good information, James. That's right at 5 minutes a mile. The pace now is 2:11 if they keep this up for the rest of the race, and that's quite an accomplishment. Felix Candy right behind in the all-black uniform, wearing gloves, and you see beside, just off to his shoulder, that is highlights right there for Kawauchi. And we mentioned earlier in Seoul that he had accomplished the 2:08.
So he's made 2 surges at the front. The first one didn't stick. This one doesn't look like it's going to stick either, but he is in front.
I'm amazed that he's pushing. Kawauchi's still up there. He holds the record, Al, for the most sub-220s ever run in history. He's run 76 of them under 2 hours and 20 minutes. Phenomenal stuff.
From our control center, an interesting thought. The women are projected to finish in 2:38, so they've got less than an hour. The men are projected to finish in 2:11. They've got less than an hour. And there is a thought that the men's race, because of how slow the women have run, might actually catch the women. How about that?
Never seen that.
How about that?
It's hard to believe that the winner from this stage of the race, despite the Newton Hills, will actually slow down. Look at Kawauchi. I mean, he's obviously incredibly strong.
So this is the 3rd time he's gone out.
Right. Now he's tucked behind him, so he's letting Candy do the work as far as breaking the wind goes.
Well, Al, I think We have about 14 men in that lead pack. The only one missing since we last checked in is actually Abdirahman, who's fallen about 200 meters off the pack. But we've got 14 men here, all the contenders. Interestingly, defending champion Jeffrey Karui is leading the race. Well, as I speak, our early heroes charge back into the lead again. Kawauchi, there he goes one more time. So we presume he'll get reeled back in, but you have to admire his courage. Can say the conditions have improved marginally in that it's no longer torrential rain, but the rain is still coming down consistently, and it's making things very, very demanding on all of the runners here. It's remarkable that they're going at the pace that they are.
So for a fourth time, Kawauchi is out on a break, and it's not what he is intending, but the way his right arm is moving as he strides, it's almost as if he's waving the others to come with him. And now this is that downhill that can really burn your legs. Kawauchi wanted to see how much progress he's made, and he's making some.
Running a smart race, though, I can't think of anything to do other than tuck in behind someone when you've got a headwind that's going up to 32 kilometers per hour as far as how hard it's blowing, with gusts maybe even a little higher. And look at Kawauchi. I'm just shaking my head. Now, this is a guy in 2017 ran 12 marathons, ran 2:09 and change for a best, but it's just stunning to run marathons that often, have your body recover, and still run a 2:09 marathon.
He's making more progress.
He's in his prime. He's 31 years of age, is Yuki.
And now the men's field is absolutely coming apart as well. James, it happened so suddenly, didn't it?
Well, it certainly did. That hill going over Route 128 was the first body blow that did the damage, with Kawauchi pushing the pace. Galen Rupp lost ground significantly going up that hill. And here, as we just passed 17 miles in 1:26 unofficially, Jeffrey Karui, defending champion, just puts his foot down and takes off. He's got about 10 meters over Lemmy Bahanu, but Karui looks remarkably comfortable, I've got to say, despite the conditions. And he's just really put the hammer down, and he's making the first significant move that we've seen in this race so far, stringing out the field entirely. And Galen Rupp must be almost 100 meters down from Jeffrey Karui at this point.
James, it looks to me as though that's a very proud stride of Karui. He looks very proud.
Well, he certainly does. I mean, as I said, he looks remarkably comfortable, as he had throughout the race, whether he's in the pack or right at the front of the field. He looks very, very determined, as you say, very proud. And, well, if he can score another win, a back-to-back win here this year, you'd have to say this is even more impressive than last year's, given the condition, the depth of the field, and the way in which he's running right now.
Okay, last time. Karui hydrating. He's still got that proud stride.
Karui buffeting the wind, has a very solid lead himself. He's running around 3 minutes and 20 seconds through the Newton Hills for his kilometer splits. His lead now, it was 55 seconds, up to 1 minute and 27 seconds. And Yuki is just doing the job here. Kawauchi, look at this. I'm just amazed. 76 marathons under 2 hours and 20 minutes. His body must be a miracle of recovery.
Well, it's rare that you can see a guy burst out the way he has. This is a 5th time today.
Yeah, from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if I sit...
Karui's lead just slightly expanding. 35K into the race. So he's got 7K to go, 7,000 meters. And he's got 1.5 minute lead on second place.
Here's Geoffrey Karui in 2018. This is Geoffrey Karui 2017. And Osako is not far behind either.
And it was Karui Al who, at 35 kilometers, broke away from Rupp and hammered the next 5K. Made a difference big time. And Galen said later, I ran too hard in the Newton Hills before Karui overtook me, and I could not catch Karui. Just 25 years of age, coming from a small town called Karanget in Kenya.
The pictures look a little different today.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do. Yuki Kawauchi from Japan, making that country deeply proud. He is running extraordinarily well and hammering along.
He's probably been on television for half the race today.
Gosh, I just can't believe he did what he did. Goes out and runs the first 1,500 meters as fast as he did. I mean, shake your head. 15:01, a 2:07 marathon pace for the first 5K this man does. And I just thought, wow, this doesn't make sense. And look at him just perform so brilliantly.
And our director, Bruce Troy, mentions, and this is an unbelievable point, he's wearing glasses. How can he see?
That's true.
I don't remember one time where he wiped them off.
How about wind chills slightly below freezing for virtually the entire race, and he just ran as though he was out in, 25 Celsius temperature for the day.
This guy has been a movie today.
And his legs and his drive look piston-like. He looks like he's totally comfortable. Arm action, driving really well. He looks terrific.
Now back to first, and again, look at the buffeting on the sleeves. Talk about consistency. Kawauchi, the last 3 split times. Last we looked, Karui's lead was 131. And it's been that way for a while.
So Karui's been out there hammering along at about a 3:17 per kilometer pace. And he's about to catch Molly Huddle. That is Huddle. And here comes Karuchi. The marathon is so unforgiving. If you're a top athlete, and even if you're, somebody who runs twice a year, you can have a bad race. It's not like a sporting event or soccer where you might contest a large number of events or in the course of a year. You get over it pretty quickly. Here you have to live with the fact of, my goodness, I put in all this hard training for 6 months, and I just didn't have a good day. And that just sits and eats at you every day until your next race.
James O'Brien, help us bring this guy home.
Well, I'm not sure he's out of the woods yet, Al, to be honest, although he still has a significant lead. His last 2 miles were 5:19, 5:31. His form remains very good, but he's been fighting some strong headwinds here for a long time, all on his own. He keeps looking over his shoulder. He did a very poor job in running the tangent, so I think Karui's working a lot harder than it may appear just from looking at his form. He really is a man with perfect form time, so even when he's working hard and struggling, it may not show it, but the splits tell a different story. 5:19, 5:31, and I think for the first time in a couple of miles we can actually see the second place finisher down the road.
It's too soon to coronate Karui. Looking at his running style right now, and the fact that his lead has gone from well over a minute down now to 30 seconds, and Kawauchi can watch him and see what's happening. 4,000 meters is a distance you can gain on somebody for sure. Look how close he is gaining on Karui. Did Karui move too hard and too soon?
James O'Brien tipped us off to this move. It seemed impossible, but this guy has been a little bit of a miracle man today. So that's Edna Kiplagat being passed by Karui. Now he's going to hit some traffic. Kawauchi of Japan is right there. Oh, this run down Boylston Street is going to be unbelievable.
But look at the closing that's going on with Yoshiki Kawauchi on Karui.
This is like it's about 10 seconds now. And all Karui is doing is looking over his shoulder, And he took the time to pick up a drink.
The last Japanese athlete to win, Toshihiko Seiko, the #1 athlete in the world in the marathon. That was back in 1981.
Kawauchi just now, as we were keeping an eye on Linden, took the lead from Karui. This is unbelievable. He showed us the cards he wanted to play in the very first mile. And look at the lead now in Kenmore Square. This is amazing.
It is just unbelievable to think that he goes out and runs a first 1,500 meters so fast and then fades back and surges and fades back and surges.
And Kawauchi just keeps pulling away. It looked like this was Geoffrey Karui's locked up second in a row.
I talked about how humbling the race is, Al, you know, and what can happen in a marathon, and you go through these highs and lows. Wow. I just never thought Karui was going to fade that easily, that fast when he did hit the wall.
Physically, he looked great there, though.
He did. And then the stride kind of shortened. And, you know, things just fell apart. He pushed too early, and leading when he did in the early half of that race, we talked about how it didn't make sense for the leader. And I actually said, I don't think your chances are minimal to win, and he was so strong and so powerful, he held it together until just the last stages of the race. The fact Yuki has run 12 marathons, and his body is so used to the stamina of this, and he's run 2:09, I think has helped him power through this headwind that he put up with.
Here he goes on to Boylston, toward the library and the finish line. I am sure they had the Kenyan national anthem all loaded in the machine to play it. They've got to make the switch.
You know, in Marshfield, Massachusetts, he raced on New Year's Day, did Kawauchi in a marathon, and that was the 76th time that he broke 2 hours and 20 minutes. No human being has ever done that before, and he did it in very bitter conditions that were a prelude to this. It was even much colder than what we're looking at now in Marshfield that day. So even maybe that race helped him cope with what we put up with today, as temperatures were around freezing all day long from a wind chill standpoint, or below Celsius.
And there's the scene that we thought we might see. Des Linden barely done celebrating, if even close to being done. And here's Karui. He's at the head of the stretch, but way ahead of him is Yuki Kawauchi of Japan.
And he has been a metronome all day. Same arm action, piston-like drive with his legs. He hasn't shown the weakness that a lot of others have as they fade back and they get into what the athletes sometimes call, Al, the survivor's shuffle. What a joyous time for him. Talk about being dedicated to your craft.
This is why sports is sports. Just when you think you're sure, you're not. Yuki Kawauchi is the 2018 Boston Marathon champion. Talk about unlikely.
Nice job. Congratulations.